Hi, I'm Arthur, and today we are going to be looking back a bit, back to the recent past to see something that I think is worth mentioning and give a breakdown to the newer chaps, chapettes, and all the chaps in between. GW, as a marketing gimmick, will from time to time release what I refer to as a value box. It's essentially a grouping of miniatures that are either popular or not, but the box itself is often at a lower price than if you bought all the miniatures individually. It's often used as a method for selling new miniatures as well. A good example would be like the Eldritch Omens box, selling new Eldar models as well as the new Warpsmith. It's not a great box, but it's far from the worst. There are a lot of issues with these value boxes, and I can break them down for you, and I'm going to throughout this entire video. A lot of the release boxes for newer models are monopose kits. And for those who don't play tabletop, it means that there is only one configuration for each miniature in the box, and you cannot style them in any other way. Like, to break it down, in the Shadow Spear box, launched towards the end of 8th edition, they introduced the Phobos Marines in full. Prior to this, there were only, I think, just the Reavers, and that was about it. But in this box, you had a 10-man kit of Infiltrators. The Infiltrators were a static 10-man kit with an in-squad medic, and the poses were always the same. You couldn't change them up. I'm pretty sure a few of them could have their helmets swapped out, but the reason I bring this up is that when the Infiltrators kit actually came out, the options in the box, I think, made it a bit annoying that you couldn't configure the Shadow Spear box as much. Like, instead of a medic, you could have a comms operator that gave you rerolls instead of a healing buff. You could also make the entire kit into a different unit entirely called Incursors, which are more of a closer range variant and had less of a stealthy long range aesthetic to that of the Infiltrators. Just a completely different set of skills. They even had landmines to deal with vehicles, which was kinda cool at the time, but until the kit came out, we couldn't do that if you got the Shadow Spear box. Or at least we couldn't model the Infiltrators as Incursors, which I'm told is often only me who is bothered by this, because I prefer my models to be WYSIWYG all the time and 100% painted. All of this pales in comparison to the absolute worst box I have ever seen in the entirety of my time playing Warhammer 40k, Age of Sigmar, Fantasy, fucking War Machine. The reason I'm bringing this up is a lot of people agreed with me when I said this in the Leagues of Votann video. But yeah, the worst box in Games Workshop history for value is the Sisters of Battle box. And I want you to look at this. Every single problem that could come with a value box is in this box, and they even invented some new ones I didn't think were possible. So a brief history as to the importance of this specific release box is that essentially prior to this being released, the Sisters of Battle were a 90% metal or resin army. I think they had plastic rhinos, and that was it. Though I could be wrong. This was one of the oldest armies that were out there to not get a full update alongside like Eldar. The models were old and cheesy and people wanted an update, so GW obliged and did a 100% range refresh, which is fucking awesome. The miniatures they were showing off looked fucking awesome, so why should we be upset? Well, aside from the kits in the box being beautiful to look at, there were so many issues, and the box reeked of like Coke dealer level the first hits free bullshit, and I am genuinely still upset to this day that they tried to sell this box, so let's break this down. Also, side note, I'm pretty sure they're still selling this box. The first issue is everything in the kit is monopose, meaning regardless of what you want to build your sisters as, they are going to be what the kit intended them to be, which isn't too terrible. The majority of the models in the box do not really suffer from the pitfalls of the lack of choice, because many of them only had one configuration anyway. Aside from one model that suffered from the mono pose, okay, let's go in this unit by unit and I'll tell you why it's terrible and you can piece it together. So the big one is the HQ, the character miniature that came with the box, the Canoness. Upon release for the faction-wide update, these were the miniatures available upon release, and not even the multi-part kits were out. The Canoness was in an illegal configuration. The Codex came with the box, which is always fun, but looking at the model, it has a rod of office, a blessed blade or a power sword, and a plasma pistol. Rules as written in the codex in the box, you couldn't run the model with those 3 weapons together. You couldn't have a sword and a rod, or a rod and a plasma pistol. So immediately, they fucked up. The first new character they've released outside of Saint Celestine in the last 10 years. So good on them, that was kind of a big deal. To the point where they had to release an emergency FAQ to fix that, alongside a few other issues that were present with the rules being a bit strong. Next, let's look at the Sisters of Battle kit itself. It's a 10-man kit with all the right pieces of equipment, and nothing is really the matter unless you don't like flamers. So far, 1 of 2 units is okay, and it continues with the Seraphim. The twin-pistoled angels of the Sisters of Battle, they are okay. They don't have the twin plasma pistol variant that I always thought was pretty fun, but you can run that unit in a squad of 5 or 10, and it came with 5. So you might think 2 hits out of 3 ain't too bad. But here's where it gets fucked. It came with a single penitent engine. Penitent engines can be run in a squad of up to 4, and they come in a box of 2. Now, you can kind of see where I'm coming from here when I see what GW is doing. No matter how many boxes of penitent engines you get, you will always have 1 extra. So collecting sisters outside of this box makes it impossible for you to split up the boxes to go forward with a full collection, because no matter how many boxes of penitent engines you have, you'll always just have 1 extra. Though the penitent engine is not as bad as the last 2. I remember when I first got the box, because yes, I got the box, I liked sisters. I ended up finding someone else who got the box, bought a box of penitent engines, built one for myself, gave the other one to him. We all leveled off at some point. Let's move on to the next one, which is significantly worse. You have the Arco-Flagellants, which in the rules comes in a unit size minimum of 3 to a maximum of 10. So you can bet your ass you only got 3 in the box. Their kit comes with 10 models. So good fucking luck trying to get any value out of the 3 dudes you got in this. But the worst, the absolute height of greed in this box is the Sisters Repentia. Sisters Repentia are a fan favorite model kit. I love the new sculpts. I'm not a fan of the old sculpts. I find they're obviously like kind of cheesy. The Sisters Repentia had a gimmick where they were an asymmetrical unit, meaning the unit was made up of Repentia, women with giant chainswords, and they were being led by the Repentia Superior, who had lightning whips and better armor. So in 8th edition, the Superior was made into a character model, meaning it wasn't attached to the unit, it just followed them around and provides buffs as long as it's within 6 inches of the unit. So the issue here is the box came with 1 Superior and 4 Repentia. Why is this a problem? Because the Repentia box comes with 9 Repentia and 1 Superior, which, surprise, surprise, the minimum squad size is 4 and the max is 9. So these models specifically were just decoration, because if you wanted to run the max amount of Repentia, you could have 3 units, 9 guys. The boxes came with 9 guys, but if you bought all that, you would have 3 superiors as well, because the superiors came with the boxes. And at the end of that, you'd have 4 Repentia from this box and 1 extra superior at the end, which is bullshit and a cheap tactic to make people want to buy more miniatures when they are getting fucking dog water value out of this box. This box is the fucking Costco samples equivalent of a Warhammer box. It's genuinely so bad that I think we should never let GW forget how bad this box is. The problems are all over the place. Models without legal rules, kits that are samplers that cannot be easily incorporated into new kits that you would buy afterwards, useless models that just wouldn't do anything. It's why I have such a tentative relationship with GW. I say that like I'm not a fucking parasite leeching off their IP for acclaim, money, and bitches. Okay, not so much bitches, but you get my idea. They are a company first, and we have to remember that. If they can release a kit that will do nothing but drain your money with minimal pushback, they fucking will. So always remember, buyer beware, you're in for a scare. But enough doom and gloom. I do want to say, I don't think GW has released a kit that fucking bad since, because goddamn if they did, I would riot. Everything after has been pretty solid, and the Horus Heresy release box was fucking amazing for both Horus Heresy and 40k if you wanted to run some Firstborn. Oh, and before I go into my ending soliloquy, I want to say, if you want more Arthur-y goodness, I appeared on a good friend's channel recently, and you should go check them out. His name is Mishmash, and he does really fucking good painting tutorials that are pretty easy to follow. And he's also really funny. As per the usual, I want to know what you guys think of this specific box. Good, bad, not worth it, worth it? Let me know in the comments, and if you know of a worse release box, let me know. I might cover it in the future. And also, like and subscribe, all that good stuff. I want to thank my channel members for supporting me, and if you want to support me as well as gain access to exclusive content, and then become a channel member today. Thanks again for watching. Until next time.